The Galactic War Council was loud that day. In the center of a massive silver hall, alien generals sat around a glowing table, their voices filled with arrogance and laughter. Holograms floated in the air, images of old human wars. Men in steel helmets, tanks rolling through mud, missiles flying through smoky skies. To the aliens it looked ridiculous, primitive, almost funny. Admiral Threx, the oldest and proudest among them, leaned back in his chair and laughed so hard that even the guards at the door smirked. His voice echoed through the chamber. "Look at them," he said. "They call this war? They fight with fire when we command suns." The others laughed louder. They called humans savages. They said humans were extinct, their world broken and forgotten after losing the first galactic conflict a century ago. Every alien believed humanity was gone forever, wiped out by its own weakness. But somewhere far away, on the edge of the solar system, a faint light flickered in the darkness. It was Neptune's orbit, cold and silent. A single hidden shipyard slept under a cloak of energy fields that made it invisible to scanners. Inside, giant machines moved like shadows. The air trembled with low humming sounds as a massive object began to awaken. A warship unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. It was called the Resolute Dawn. Inside the command deck, Admiral Hayes stood before a panoramic window, looking out at the frozen stars. He was old now, with white hair and tired eyes, but his voice still carried strength. The last admiral of humanity, the last leader of a fallen race. A small transmission blinked on his console. It was an old frequency, a signal that had not been used in decades. Hayes pressed it. The voice that came through was shaky, almost afraid. "Admiral, they're coming for Earth. The aliens think we are dead. They think we are finished." Hayes said nothing for a moment. He simply looked down, his reflection shining in the glass. Then he whispered softly, "Then let us remind them who we are." Back in the War Council, the laughter continued. Threx stood and spread his arms like a ruler, addressing his court. "My fleet will enter the Sol system by dawn," he said proudly. "We will destroy the remains of their planet and erase their history from the stars. Let it be a lesson to all who dare to rise against the Empire." Applause filled the hall. The aliens had no idea that their message had already been intercepted by the very humans they thought extinct. On Earth's moon, deep inside a ruined base, the human defense network flickered to life for the first time in 112 years. Dust fell from the ceiling as ancient machines powered up. The screens glowed blue, one by one, showing the face of Admiral Hayes. He looked at the officers who had waited generations for this moment. Men and women who had grown up believing they were the last of their kind. "We do not have the numbers," Hayes said calmly. "We do not have the luxury of time, but we have something they will never understand." He paused and looked around the room. "We have purpose." Far beyond the moon, drones began moving, invisible to alien sensors. They spread across the solar system, relaying data, marking targets, preparing for war. The silence of space hid everything. Meanwhile, alien fleets gathered near Jupiter, thousands of ships glittering like stars. They broadcast messages across the galaxy, mocking humanity's absence. "Come out, humans!" Threx shouted into the void. "Show us your courage. Or do you still hide behind your broken rocks?" But no one answered. The aliens believed they had already won. Their scanners detected no activity, no energy signatures, no defense grids. They thought Earth was just a graveyard, silent and empty. They laughed again. They always laughed. Then something strange happened. Every ship in the alien armada experienced a small interference, a flicker on their radar, a whisper through their comms. It was faint, almost unnoticeable, but it repeated every few seconds. A low pulse like a heartbeat. Threx frowned. "What is that noise?" A technician replied nervously, "Unknown signal, sir. It's rhythmic. It's coming from the dark side of Neptune." The admiral narrowed his eyes. "Send a scout." But the moment the scout ship approached, its signal vanished completely. The entire crew disappeared without a trace. Only static remained. On the hidden shipyard, Admiral Hayes watched from his screen. The small light marking the alien scout ship blinked once and then faded out. He looked to his engineer. Is the Dawn ready? The man nodded. All systems are green, Admiral. The Dawn waits for your command. Hayes took a deep breath. For years, humans had been silent, rebuilding, hiding, learning, evolving. While the galaxy laughed, humanity adapted. They built weapons that no one could imagine, technology born not from pride but from pain. He turned to his crew, every face steady, every heart ready. They think we're weak, he said quietly. They think we are gone. But we have been waiting. He pressed his hand against the glass as the massive ship began to move. The engines ignited with a soft blue glow that grew brighter and brighter until it painted the dark with light. The resolute Dawn rose from its cradle, slow and steady, a ghost rising from the dead. Back in the Galactic Council, Threx was giving a speech when the lights in the hall flickered. A messenger ran in, breathless. "Admiral! We just lost contact with our forward fleet near Neptune." Threx frowned. "Lost contact? Impossible." The messenger whispered, "Sir, something's out there." The laughter in the room stopped. Every alien looked at Threx. For the first time there was silence. Far beyond them, the resolute Dawn turned toward the stars, toward them. Admiral Hayes looked out and whispered, "Let them laugh. They won't be laughing much longer." The alien fleet entered the solar system with pride and arrogance. Thousands of ships, shaped like blades and spears, cut through the darkness like a storm of fire. Their glowing engines painted the black void in red. The invasion had begun. At the front of the armada, Admiral Threx stood on his command bridge, watching the blue planet in the distance. Earth, small, quiet, and helpless. He smiled. "So this is what remains of the mighty humans," he said. "A broken world covered in dust." The officers around him laughed softly, eager to please their commander. One of them added, "They were good fighters in their own way. But their age is over." Threx raised his hand, and the fleet spread out. "Search every orbit," he ordered. "Bring me proof that humanity no longer exists." For hours, scanners swept across the planets and moons. They found ruins of old colonies, wrecked stations, and silent satellites that had drifted for decades. Nothing moved, no human signals, no defense grids, no weapons. It looked like the galaxy had been right all along. Humanity was extinct, but then something changed. A small recon ship near Neptune picked up an energy reading. It was faint, deep beneath the planet's shadow. The pilot frowned and increased the scan. "Admiral, there is something here. It looks like a structure." Threx turned sharply. "A structure? Show me." The screen flickered, showing a dark shape half hidden behind the frozen blue mist of Neptune's rings. It was huge, motionless, and without any heat signature. To alien senses it looked like dead rock. But it was not. Before Threx could give an order, the recon ship vanished from the radar. The signal cut off mid-sentence. Silence filled the bridge. "What happened?" he shouted. "Unknown, sir. No explosion, no debris. The ship just disappeared." A chill ran through the crew. Threx clenched his jaw. "Send drones. I want to know what's out there." The drones flew forward, their sensors wide open. For a few moments, everything seemed normal. Then one by one, their signals began to fade, swallowed by the shadows. And in that darkness, something massive began to move, far beyond Neptune. Inside the shipyard, hidden beneath a cloak of distorted space, the resolute Dawn powered up completely. Its hull shimmered like liquid metal. Blue lines of light spread across its surface as systems came alive. Admiral Hayes stood in the control room, calm and focused. Around him, his crew worked in silence, their faces glowing under the soft blue lights. Generations of humans had built this moment in secret, passing knowledge like a sacred flame. Hayes looked at the main screen. "How many ships do they have?" "Over 3,000, sir," replied the tactical officer. "They're spreading toward Mars and Earth orbit." Hayes nodded slowly. "And they think we're dead." The officer smiled faintly. "Then we should wake them up." Hayes gave one quiet order. "Activate the Dawn." The stars outside trembled. The air around Neptune bent and shimmered. For a brief second, the entire planet seemed to darken. And then, from behind its icy rings, the resolute Dawn emerged. It was enormous, larger than any alien dreadnought, its design sleek and smooth, almost alive. Blue plasma veins ran through its structure like rivers of energy. Its surface reflected starlight, but inside, a silent storm waited. In the alien flagship, alarms began to scream. "Admiral!" A new object detected. It's huge!" Trex turned to the screen and froze. There in the void, a single human warship floated, calm and motionless. It did not broadcast any signal. It did not announce its name. But its presence alone made the sensors overload. "What is that thing?" An alien officer whispered. Threx stared. "Impossible. Humans could never build that." The Resolute Dawn did not move for a moment. Then its lights brightened like a sleeping beast opening its eyes. A human voice echoed across every alien channel. It was deep, calm, and heavy with power. "This is Admiral Hayes of the United Terran Fleet. Leave human space immediately." The aliens froze. The voice came through frequencies they did not even know existed. Their translators struggled to keep up. Threx laughed nervously. "A ghost trying to scare us? Fire!" Hundreds of alien cannons lit up. Beams of red energy crossed the darkness and hit the human ship, or tried to. Every shot bent away before touching the hull, as if reality itself refused to harm it. And then the Resolute Dawn answered. A blinding flash spread across space. A single beam of light, pure and blue, shot forward silently. It did not explode. It did not make noise. But every alien ship in its path simply vanished, erased, without fire or smoke. The beam cut through half the fleet like a blade through water. Inside the alien flagship, chaos erupted. Officers screamed. Panels exploded. Threx fell to the floor as his ship shook violently. "What kind of weapon is that?" No one could answer. The alien sensors showed nothing. No radiation, no energy signature, nothing they could measure. It was as if the humans had created something beyond their science. On the Resolute Dawn, the crew watched silently. Hayes did not smile. He did not celebrate. He only said, "Do not target survivors. Let them send the message." The human ship glided forward, its engines humming softly. The blue light washed over the wreckage of alien ships, peaceful yet terrifying. The aliens tried to retreat, but the human vessel appeared wherever they turned, moving faster than sensors could track. Its movements broke every known law of physics. Finally, Admiral Threx sent out a desperate broadcast. "We surrender. We surrender. Who are you?" Hayes looked at his screen and replied quietly, "We are what you made us." The transmission ended. The alien fleet turned and fled, their once proud armada broken. As silence returned to the solar system, Hayes stood at the viewport, watching the fading lights of retreating ships. The crew around him said nothing. They knew this was only the beginning. For every alien world that mocked humanity, the news would spread. A single human ship had faced a galactic fleet and won, and out there, beyond the stars, others would begin to whisper, "The humans are back." The galaxy could not stop talking. Within hours of the battle near Neptune, every communication network burned with the same unbelievable story. A single human warship had destroyed an entire alien fleet. News spread faster than light. Some called it impossible. Others said it was a ghost story. But those who had seen it with their own eyes knew the truth. Humanity was not gone. Humanity had returned. Across the stars, silence followed. Empires that had once mocked Earth's name suddenly stopped speaking of humans at all. Their rulers met in secret. They feared something they could not understand. Meanwhile, far from their eyes, deep within the asteroid belt, a signal pulsed. It moved from rock to rock, from outpost to outpost, like a heartbeat traveling through the void. It was the awakening code, and everywhere that signal reached, hidden stations opened. Massive hangar doors slid apart, revealing black warships covered in dust. Thousands of them, each one marked with the symbol of Earth, a small blue circle surrounded by 12 stars. For a century, humans had been hiding. While the galaxy laughed, they built. In forgotten moons, in cold asteroids, inside the shadows of dying suns, they prepared. And now their time had come. Admiral Hayes stood on the bridge of the Resolute Dawn. His crew was silent as he watched a new hologram appear in front of him, one showing hundreds of human ships coming online. Their engines glowed softly in the dark, one after another like candles being lit. A young officer turned to him. "Sir, the fleet is responding. All systems green." Hayes nodded slowly. "How many do we have?" 3,000 ships, Admiral. Across 5 sectors. For a moment the Admiral did not speak. His eyes softened as he looked at the map. So many vessels, so many hidden survivors. The ghosts of a fallen civilization, now ready to rise again. He whispered quietly, "Then humanity still has a voice." In a distant part of the galaxy, alien leaders gathered in panic. They spoke in deep rooms filled with smoke and light. Holograms flickered as the words "human battleship" appeared again and again in reports. "They cannot have technology like this," one alien said. "It breaks our science," said another. "Then maybe," Threx whispered from his shadowed seat, "our science was never enough." He had survived the battle near Neptune. His ship was half broken, his pride shattered, but he was alive. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw that beam, that silent blue light that erased half his fleet in seconds. He looked up at the council. "We called them savages. We were wrong." The room fell silent. No one dared to argue. Back in human space, the newly formed United Terran Fleet gathered near Saturn. Ships of all shapes and sizes, stealth cruisers, plasma frigates, massive carriers, formed into perfect lines. From above, they looked like a constellation of living metal. Admiral Hayes opened a channel to every ship. His voice carried across millions of miles of space. "Brothers and sisters," he said. "For years, the galaxy thought we were weak. They forgot that we survived every storm. They forgot that we learned from every pain." He paused, his voice calm but strong. "We do not fight for revenge. We fight for truth. Let them see what it means to be human." Cheers filled the ships. Engineers wiped tears from their eyes. Soldiers clenched their fists. Some were the grandchildren of those who had once seen Earth burn, and now they stood ready to protect it. The alien empire sent out a warning. Thousands of fleets prepared for war. But they were too late. When humanity moved, it was like the stars themselves came alive. Fleets emerged from hyperspace without sound or flash. Each movement planned perfectly. In one sector, a human strike group appeared above a mining colony that had enslaved human refugees for years. The aliens below stared in horror as the sky filled with dark ships. The lead ship sent one message before firing: "This is humanity's territory. Leave or vanish." The aliens fled without a single shot fired. In another sector, human ships appeared near an alien fortress that had once displayed human bones as trophies. The fortress commander sent a message of defiance. The reply was short: "We are not your trophies. We are your teachers." Seconds later, the fortress shut down completely. Not destroyed, disabled with precision. Everywhere the humans went, the same pattern followed. No blood, no chaos, only control. They fought like shadows, fast and exact, breaking fleets with surgical strikes. The galaxy could not understand it. They expected hate. They found discipline. On the alien homeworld of Xyla Prime, Threx watched the holostreams of defeat. He saw human ships disabling his allies one by one. Entire sectors were surrendering without a fight. His people were calling for peace. He clenched his hands. "They are not fighting us," he whispered. "They are teaching us." For the first time in centuries, the alien leader felt small. The same humans he had laughed at were now rewriting the laws of war, not with destruction, but with wisdom. Back on the Resolute Dawn, Admiral Hayes stood before the stars. Behind him, Earth glowed softly, reborn, healed. The oceans shimmered again. The cities had light. Children played under blue skies for the first time in generations. Hayes watched quietly. He did not smile, but his heart was full. "We've shown them our strength," he said softly. "Now we must show them mercy." His second officer turned. "Sir, do we continue?" Hayes looked at the stars. His eyes were calm, filled with old memories. "We continue until every world remembers humanity is not a threat. Humanity is a promise, And so the Terran fleet spread across the galaxy, not to conquer, but to restore balance. The humans rebuilt planets that others had destroyed. They shared medicine, food, and peace with old enemies, but every alien who looked into a human's eyes remembered the same silent truth. Behind that kindness was the power that had once bent the stars. Across every world, the same message began to echo in every language, every voice. They are human. They do not kneel, and the galaxy, for the first time in history, began to listen. The galaxy had never been this quiet before. For thousands of years, empires had shouted, fought, and ruled. Now, all of them waited in silence. At the edge of known space, the resolute dawn floated above a dying star. Around it, thousands of human ships held their positions, calm, unmoving, beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The stars themselves seemed to hold their breath. Inside the command deck, Admiral Hayes stood with his hands behind his back, looking at the vast hologram before him. Dozens of alien fleets were gathering, the last resistance of the galaxy. They had come together, united by fear. Each alien world had sent its best. Dreadnoughts from the Vaughn Empire, energy cruisers from the Threx Dominion, and the glowing spire ships of the Krail Collective, all forming one massive force. They believed their combined strength could stop humanity. Hayes watched silently as his crew reported their movements. 77 fleets, Admiral. They're charging their weapons. He nodded. Let them. The crew looked at one another but did not question him. They trusted him, the man who had brought humanity back from ashes. On the alien flagship, Admiral Threx stood before a massive window. He still remembered the day he had laughed at humans. He still heard the echo of his own arrogance. But now his heart was heavy. He had come not to destroy, but to understand. Beside him, another alien commander whispered, "Do you really believe they'll spare us?" Threx said nothing for a moment. Then he answered quietly, "I don't believe. I hope." The fleet prepared for battle. The air on every ship was thick with tension. Weapons charged. Shields flared, and then the human fleet moved. No sound, no warning, just light. The resolute dawn glided forward, surrounded by hundreds of human ships that shimmered like blue fireflies. Every movement was precise, every formation perfect. They did not rush. They did not threaten. They advanced like a tide that could not be stopped. Alien commanders gave orders in panic. Target their engines. Focus fire. But before the first shot could even leave their cannons, every alien weapon powered down. Lights across their ships flickered and died. Engines went dark. System failure, shouted one alien officer. Shields down! We can't move! Another cried. Threx looked around in disbelief. They've taken control of our systems. Hayes' voice echoed across the galaxy. Calm, firm, unshaken. We told you to leave human space. You ignored it. Now you will listen. His face appeared as a hologram in every alien command center. Not as a conqueror, but as a man speaking the truth. We were not destroyed. We survived in silence while you mocked our ruins. We built in the shadows while you called us extinct. And now we are awake again. He paused, his eyes cold and full of weight. We do not seek war, but if you bring it, we will end it before it begins. For a moment no one spoke. The only sound was the quiet hum of human engines filling the void, like the heartbeat of the universe itself. Then, something unexpected happened. On Threx's ship, the alien admiral stood tall and looked at Hayes' hologram. Slowly he bent one knee to the floor. The officers around him stared in shock. I was wrong, Threx said. You're kind. Your strength. It was never in your weapons. It was in your will. He lowered his head. On behalf of my people, I surrender. Across the galaxy, one by one, other alien leaders followed. Some bowed their heads. Some placed their hands to their chests. Others simply whispered old words of respect. No one had ordered them to kneel. They did it because they understood. The galaxy was not bowing to power. It was bowing to humanity. On the resolute dawn, the human crew watched the live transmissions in silence. Some wiped tears from their eyes. Others simply stood, unable to speak. Hayes looked at the screen showing Threx's kneeling form. For years, humans had dreamed of revenge. Now, standing at the height of victory, he felt only peace. He turned to his second officer. "Prepare the message," the officer nodded. "Yes, sir." "To all systems?" Hayes nodded, and so across every planet, moon, and station, the final message of humanity spread, calm, powerful, unforgettable. We are not here to rule. We are not here to conquer. We are here to remind you, we endure. We fight only when forced, and we protect those who cannot protect themselves. That is what it means to be human. The broadcast ended. The stars shone brighter that night. Weeks later, the Alien Council met again, not in arrogance, but in respect. They signed a new alliance, one led not by greed, but by balance. At the center of that alliance was Earth, once forgotten, now the heart of peace. Human ships patrolled the edges of space, not as rulers, but as guardians. Children on alien worlds learned human history, not as a tale of defeat, but of resilience. And deep in the silence of his cabin, Admiral Hayes looked out the window toward Earth. The oceans were blue again. The cities glowed softly under the night sky. His reflection looked older, tired but proud. He whispered to himself, "We came from dust. We rose from ruins. And now the stars remember our name." He turned off the lights and closed his eyes. Outside, the resolute dawn continued its slow flight across the stars, a silent reminder of what humanity truly was, a species that refused to vanish. Far away, in a small alien classroom, a young student asked his teacher, "Are the humans real? Did they really make the galaxy kneel?" The teacher smiled gently. "Yes," she said, "but not because of fear, because they showed us what courage looks like." The child looked out the window at the night sky. "Then maybe one day," he said softly, "we can be like them." The teacher nodded. "Maybe one day."